Oh yes, my Straight Dog family, I want to bid you a very pleasant night wherever you are in St. Kitts and Nevis, and wherever you are in the entire Caribbean region. To my Straight Dog family in the Kittitian and Nevisan diaspora, I say greetings to all who are logged on to our social media platforms. Oh yes, my Straight Dog family, I'll do that one more time because we've been having some difficulties, but we'll overcome those difficulties. And I'll say good night, St. Kitts and Nevis. Good night, Caribbean. Good night to the diaspora, wherever you are in the world, on the World Wide Web. We are at liberty to say good night. We will say good morning, and we will also say good afternoon. As one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. We do apologize for the tardy start. We've been having some technical difficulties here in Studio One, and we do apologize for that, my Street Dog family. So we won't waste much time. We'll go right into our observations in review. But just for the first timers, if you're joining me for the first time, Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, we join you and we try to raise the level of national discourse. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I thank Almighty God for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. Tonight, my thesis, I studied long and hard to get my thesis together. I thought for a moment we'll just have an open discussion, because what we looked for, what we all waited for, at least I didn't get it. I'm sure you did not get it either. But the short thesis I'll present tonight, I have titled No Justice, No Peace, No Security, No Safety. But I'll first consider our observations in review. And that's a time when we highlight the issues of the day and do some reflection. And we ask some questions as well, my Straight Dog family. We do ask questions such as what was accomplished, how has it helped others, what has changed since, and what can be expected next, and what we have learned as a people. Because it's all a learning process, my Straight Dog family. It's all a learning process. And we anticipate that as we go along, each one will teach one. And we all will have, as I said, a learning process. All will undergo, I should say, a learning process, each and every one of us, my Straight Dog family. And our first observation tonight, it's It's good news. We got some really good news out of Canada a few days ago, just about a day ago, my Straight Dog family. And it relates to the ETA, or the Electronic Travel Authorization. And recall, my Straight Dog family, recall that we, in fact, lost our visa-free status with Canada because of the government we had at the time and the hanky-panky things they were involved in as a government. And remember this, how many of us remember when and why we lost our visa-free status with Canada? Do you remember this, my Straight Dog family?
During its meeting on Monday, the 7th of January 2013, ministers approved the appointment of Mr. Ali Zia Mohadam, a national of Iran, who had formerly acquired citizenship of St. Kitts and Nevis through the investment program. Mr. Mohadam was issued with a diplomatic passport. He, on his travels to Canada, presented such passport to the authorities there. The authorities sought to confirm his role, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs confirmed to Canada the details of Mr. Mohadam's appointment and the specifics of his remit.
And my Straight Dog family, that was 10 years ago, just about, when this diplomat paid $1 million for a diplomatic passport under the CBI program. It was never investigated. We don't know why. But going forward, we all must be happy when we would have heard this news coming or presented by ZIZ's Carla Berridge, who said this.
Nationals of St. Kitts and Nevis who meet certain requirements are able to travel to Canada without a visa. In a statement issued on Tuesday, Canada's Minister of Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship, Honorable Sean Fraser, announced the addition of 13 countries, including St. Kitts and Nevis, to the Electronic Travel Authorization (ETA) program. Travelers from these countries who have either held a Canadian visa in the last 10 years or who currently hold a valid United States non-immigrant visa can now apply for an ETA instead of a visa when traveling to Canada by air. An Electronic Travel Authorization (ETA) is an entry requirement for visa-exempt foreign nationals traveling to Canada by air. An ETA is electronically linked to a traveler's passport. With a valid ETA, you can travel to Canada as often as you want for short stays, normally for up to 6 months at a time. You can apply for an ETA on the Canada government's website, canada.ca, under the section Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship. The cost is $7 Canadian. It is valid for up to 5 years or until the passport expires, whichever comes first. The other countries that benefit from the program are Antigua and Barbuda, Argentina, Costa Rica, Morocco, Panama, Philippines, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Seychelles, Thailand, Trinidad and Tobago, and Uruguay.
My Straight Dog family, so for those who have had a visa, Canadian visa in the last 10 years, or those who hold an American visitor's visa, you can apply online and have access, visa-free access to Canada. And that's good news, my Straight Dog family. There's an observation we are following that relates to the Ministry of Agriculture, and with specific reference to the Minister and the Permanent Secretary as it relates to veterinary services. Something has come to Facebook in recent days that there's a ring that indulges in illegal activity as it relates or or rather illegal activity we would label now as dog fighting. And dog fighting is illegal, as far as I know, in St. Kitts and Nevis. But there is a particular individual who works at the veterinary school in St. Kitts and Nevis. And he provides what is called veterinary surgery. And veterinary surgery is an art and a science that includes the diagnosis of diseases and injuries to animals. They include tests performed on animals for diagnostic purposes. And like I said, these animals are fighting. The surgery also provides or requires the giving of advice based upon such diagnosis and the surgical or medical treatment of the animals and the performance of surgical operation on animals. Now, you understand that the minister has appointed a veterinary board, and this particular individual who is not vet trained or trained in veterinary services, neither is he registered as a veterinary surgeon. And unless one is registered as a veterinary surgeon, or unless that person holds a degree in veterinary surgery from a university or college, that in the opinion of the veterinary board, which is appointed in accordance with the Veterinary Act, then that person shall not be registered as a veterinary surgeon. Never mind to be appointed by the permanent secretary or the minister and the permanent secretary as a member of the veterinary board. And that is causing a lot of concern and a lot of gruntling and the malfunctioning of the veterinary board, because some trained veterinary surgeons are not attending meetings once that individual goes to these meetings and his appointment is stayed by the ministry, because that individual has no other qualification in veterinary surgery that can be considered by the board to be at least an equivalent standard to that which is specified in the Veterinary Act. But Straight Talk is following this development and will keep you posted on same. Because this is what's happening in or under the Jew administration. Everything and anything just seems to be accepted once you are a supporter of the Jew Labour Party. And this would have to stop. The other issue we are following as well, my Straight Dog family, is the issue as it relates to the fiber houses, Chinese fiber cement board houses. And you notice we have heard no news for some time, and we have learned that no news many times is good news. And the only good news we are hoping that will come out of that silence about the housing in recent times is that the abandonment of this project, this ill-conceived housing project, would be top on the priority of the Jew Labour administration. In the meantime, we are awaiting the construction of these two model houses. And remember that the disgraced AG Garth Lucian Wilkins said to the country that as long as the model houses do not meet or fit the requirements, I'm paraphrasing here, of the cabinet and the NHC, then the agreement would be aborted. Those are my words. Whether these engineers and those in authority who tell us all the time about the drought situation, not just in St. Kitts, but in the Caribbean, and the Caribbean Hydrological and Meteorological Organization, I think it's called, has given its prognosis for the next 10 years, and things do not look well as it relates to rainfall. Currently, I think we are having a 50% rainfall deficit. But if you can't get rain, how can you replenish those wells? How can you replenish the reservoirs? So it beats me. It really beats me each time I think about it. Over 2/3 of the Earth's surface is covered with water. Our entire federation, our 2 islands, are surrounded by water. Water we can't done, to use a colloquial term. So why on earth we don't go to desalination? It beats me. Don't talk nonsense about the cost of desalination. Water, like many other commodities, is a public good. And the government of the day has an obligation to provide public goods, and in particular, water. But I'm told, like I said, Bead drill rig is mounted or is in the process of being mounted over there in the Keon area, my Straight Dog family. And that's very interesting news. And I asked myself whether the government of the day did in fact sign a new contract, because we are aware that since 2021, the then Minister of Public Infrastructure, which includes water, the then Minister Sean Richards made this announcement to the country.
The government only in December last year signed a contract for over $6 million with Bead LLC to undertake well drilling remediation in the Keyon and Basti areas. We are confident that a permanent solution to the water shortage with the good people of Keyon have endured over the years would soon be a thing of the past.
Well, we live in hope, my Straight Dog family. Because lo and behold, we got news that Bead was paid $2 million since 2017 by the Nevis Island administration, and it has neither delivered water nor returned the money. And this came from the mouth of the political monster over there in Nevis, Mark Brantley, who said this.
As I indicated publicly before, we had made a commitment to have an additional 3 wells done at a global cost of 10 million EC dollars back in 2017. In fact, it was in August of 2017 that we paid to a company called Bead just over 2 million EC dollars as a down payment. Bead has never come to do the work for the government. And so we don't have our $2 million and we don't have any wells. We have decided to take legal action against Bead that is ongoing. So it has not been for want of trying in relation to water.
Well, in Nevis, they didn't get the water, and they have not returned the $2 million. But I want to say this tonight, suffice to say, with Bead, the treasury will continue to bleed. With Bead, they will extract money and not water. Take my word, my Straight Dog family. Those are my observations in review for tonight, and I'll embark upon my thesis, as I said, no justice, no peace. And I'll be brief tonight because we started pretty late, so I will be as brief as possible with my particular dissertation tonight. But it took exactly 10 months, 16 hours and 24 minutes. Hear me. It took exactly 10 months, 16 hours and 24 minutes before our Prime Minister and Minister of National Security could come to the country, address the Federation on crime and violence. And this crime and violence has spiraled out of control in front of all who have eyes to see and ears to hear. My Straight Talk family, it was Tuesday the 6th of June, just 2 days ago, the day following an heinous double homicide, and the same day on which there were 2 additional murders. The country waited anxiously to hear what the Prime Minister was going to say. Before he was scheduled to deliver his address at 3 o'clock on Tuesday, as it was earlier advertised. So the time moved to 3:30. I perhaps had it wrong. But there was another murder, making 4 in 2 days. And I speculated that he was revising his script. But truth be told, we waited for an hour and a half, just about, to be told by Dr. Joe nothing, absolutely nothing of substance. And the whole country everybody was embarrassed for our Prime Minister. We wonder, well, why would it take a Prime Minister hours to write a 4-minute address? He could have ad-libbed that in short order. But what did he say? He said absolutely nothing. He said this, for example, my Straight Talk family.
The present upsurge in criminal activity is a natural and direct result of the monetization of crime management. Similar methods were tried and failed in Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Mexico, Haiti, and El Salvador. In every occasion, it resulted in what we are seeing right now in our federation. Contrary to the propaganda peddled in social media by irresponsible naysayers, the Labour Party administration did not stop the peace program.
Well, if this program failed, Dr. Joe, it failed in the countries you alluded to. It's a program that monetizes crime. So why are you continuing the program and not stopping it? That should give you every reason to stop it. I mean, it's really disheartening whenever I hear our Prime Minister speak of these issues. And our Prime Minister and Minister of National Security should have, however, know by now that justice, peace, security, and safety are essential elements in building the foundation for inclusive growth with a high level of trust or high trust and a resilient society. People would feel safe wherever they are in the country and are able to go about their business economic or social activities, Dr. Joe, as long as they do not violate other people's economic, social, and cultural rights. Such a condition enables the free flow of goods and or services. And understand this, there can be no meaningful or maintainable national development if there is no law and order. The first and foremost, or the first and most sacred responsibility of any government must be the maintenance of law and order and the safety and security of citizens and residents. Societal peace and stability are prerequisites for true social and economic development, also for the accomplishment of a progressive agenda in a small island development state like St. Kitts and Nevis. National security is the public good we ought to be concerned about, especially in international trade. It is a public good because once provided, one, it will be difficult to exclude people within the country from the safety and security generated, and two, multiple individuals can enjoy the added safety and security without limiting that received by others. The elected government of any nation has the responsibility to ensure the management of the security sector and to ensure that it is in line with the democratic best practices and the provision of security as a public good. Governments also bear the political responsibility for the activities of the security sector. And what has transpired in the sector? Because the Prime Minister said that the police would have a press conference to provide information for us. And they did, my Street Dog family. Here's what the Commissioner of Police had to say, my Street Dog family, on Wednesday, I think it was.
For the year 2022, the police record a number of successes. There was a decrease in major crimes overall. We recovered a total of 16 illegal firearms, but regrettably, there were 11 homicides. In the first quarter of 2023, we recorded a further decrease in major crimes. However, the second quarter of the year, we saw a significant spike in homicides. Although the police have recovered a total of 20 illegal firearms in the first half of the year, the number of civilians who have unfortunately died now stands at 16.
16 homicides. But let's do analysis of the data provided. In 2022, there were 11 homicides total, which means that when the current Minister of National Security took the baton, there were 3 homicides that August 2022. And from the moment that baton was taken by the minister, then all hell seemed to have broken loose. And at the end of 2022, there were 8 additional homicides under the new Minister of National Security. And for 2023, he said the first half of the year, but we're not yet at the first half of the year. So we revise this to the first 5 months.
Crimes overall. We recovered a total of 16 illegal firearms, but regrettably, there were 11 homicides. In the first quarter of 2023, we recorded a further decrease in major crimes. However, the second quarter of the year, we saw a significant spike in homicides. Although the police have recovered a total of 20 illegal firearms in the first half of the year, the number of civilians who have unfortunately died now stands at 16. This dark trend will be stopped, and the misinformed individuals who perpetrated it will be brought to justice. Criminal activity must not be allowed to find safe haven within the fabric of our society. The police, having been diligently working in collaboration with the St. Kitts Nevis Defence Force to curb the surge of criminal activity. To this end, we have already put in motion several initiatives and strategies aimed at increasing efficacy of our methods and the intensity with which we seek justice. One such course of action was the High Command's decision to increase mobile and foot patrols and community engagement nationwide. This change has been met with much appreciation from the general public. A dozen of persons all over the country continue to express sentiments of gratitude and appreciation to
my Stray Dog family. A lot of emphasis was placed on justice. You recognize lots of emphasis was placed on justice. And why not? Why not? There must be justice. But that's the point on which I want to expand tonight. The absence of justice. Because my Stray Dog family, just yesterday, I think it was, ZSZ's Jason Davis reported this news.
Alexter Amory of New Road has been 51-year-old Alexter Amory of New Road has been convicted and sentenced to serve 5 years and 3 months in His Majesty's prison for gun possession charges. Mr. Amory had been previously charged with possession of firearm and ammunition on February 23. According to a police statement, Amory was charged in relation to a firearm and to a gun and ammunition that were found by the police following a stop and search on February 21. The police found one .22 caliber pistol and 14 .22 caliber rounds of ammunition and took them into custody.
5 years. Prior to that, as I reported earlier, of an ex-police and his partner who got 3 years for firearm possession as well.
Cillian Phipps and Tariq Jones have been convicted for the possession of firearm and possession of ammunition on April 17, 2023. Both have been sentenced to serve 3 years in His Majesty's prison, on each charge with their sentences set to run concurrently. The conviction stems from a gun find in October 2021. Phipps was charged on October 26th and Jones was charged on October 28th, as he was a police officer at the time, and the matter was referred to the Director of Public Prosecutions for advice. They were both remanded to prison.
3 years, 5 years. But yet, just recently, a radio personality who goes by the name of DJ Cupid, who was found, according to the police, in a stop and search in the Freak Bay area in February last year. And the police recovered a 9mm pistol with 1 empty magazine and 10 rounds of 9mm ammunition. And that individual, we're told, was sentenced to time served on remand. Justice. That's what we're talking about. And recall my Straight Talk family as well, that I raised a matter a few months ago as it relates to a decision by the Director of Public Prosecution, acting DPP Greatest Gordon Hazel, who, a few days after that young man and woman was sentenced to 3 years, in her wisdom, served a notice of discontinuance on Senior Magistrate Yasmin Clark in a case which was before her, numbered NEVMCR 2023/01/02. Acting Director of Public Prosecution Greatest Gordon Hazel exercised her power under Section 65 subsection 2C of our Constitution and ordered that the notice be entered in her name in the said case in which the accused stood charged before District C Magistrate Court with the offenses of possession of firearm and ammunition contrary to Section 21/B, subsection B of the Firearms Act Cap 19.05. The warrant was served on the magistrate on the 25th of April. Her Honorable Miss Yasmin Clark, who had no recourse because it was an order for her to discharge the proceedings which were currently before her in her court. So do you understand what I said, my Straight Talk family? One person got 3 years, or two persons got 3 years. One got 5 years. Another got time served, and one was freed, who jumped on a boat from Nevis, headed to the airport, caught the American Airlines, now is in the USA. So when I hear the Commissioner of Police speak about justice, I wonder, which justice is he talking about? Because the issue I just raised that happened in Nevis is what would bring the administration of justice in St. Kitts Nevis into disrepute. My Straight Talk family, it is said that justice is blind. No justice, no peace, no security, no safety, unless justice remains blind. What we are saying, it is expected that in a legal court, the way judges, juries, and law enforcement are supposed to, underline supposed to, fairly make decisions based only on the information presented to them, rather than based on personal experiences or who they like most. The Commissioner of Police himself, you can speak to justice. You yourself can speak to justice before you were transferred to Nevis And as fate would have it, you're back in St. Kitts and you are the Commissioner of Police. And I commend you. But wearing a blindfold and often shown in courthouse paintings or as a statue, Lady Justice is a symbol of the legal system. She's based on the Greek goddess Themis and the Roman goddess Justitia, who are known for their good judgment and righteousness, respectively. She acts as a reminder that the courts are supposed to protect the rights of the people without being influenced by outside factors. And my Straight Talk family, I promise I'll be brief tonight, but I want to say here, if the legal system in St. Kitts continues to be partial, and some people think they can evade an honest trial, then we are in trouble, my Straight Talk family. And when we have a government like the government we have now, we are in further trouble, because even their own people are speaking about their incompetence, my Straight Talk family.
I believe in the principle and the ideology of the Labour Party, but the present set of ministers, they really have to step up to the plate and do better. Because right now, I don't think I can give them a passing grade, and I'm being very frank.
Passing grade or nothing, but they interfere with the course of justice. Look at the chief legal advisor, Garth Lucien Wilkin. Justice is what we're talking about. If justice is blind, then everyone must be held accountable. Everyone must be reminded that doing the wrong thing has consequences no matter what. If you're the premier's friend and you do something wrong, then you must be held accountable. Mr. Sheriff. Yes, the sheriff. We know the sheriff. If something is done wrong, you must be held accountable. My Straight Talk family, if justice is blind, everyone must be held accountable. But I'm going to really leave it there, because I started pretty late tonight, and I want to do, not to rob you of your time, my Straight Talk family. I want you to be part of this, because I am worried, I am bothered by what is happening in our country. I'm sure you are, and you will have your things to say. But my word is, no justice, no peace, no security, no safety. That's my word tonight, and I'm not going to change it. I'll open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. And before I do so, and I'll do so in a few seconds, I anticipate that you will respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in doing and saying those things, my Straight Talk family, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, I go to the lines and say good night to my first caller. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
What up, my beloved brother? How are you doing? How's the family?
Peaceful, my brother. Peaceful. Otep. I haven't heard you for a long time. How's your family?
Good, man. Good, but I'm not feeling all right, man. It's what is those double homicides I had in 2 days.
You shouldn't feel
Two
right.
double homicide in 2 days?
Yep.
Brother, oh man, oh man, oh man. Let me just say condolences to those 4 families, man. You know? Condolences, brother. But, brother, let me say, man, Team Unity administration reduce crime, reduce homicide and criminal activities to a minimum. And look what we have in 10 months of this evil cartoon administration. Men and women who have expertise in stupidity. Let me repeat that. All of them have expertise in stupidity. They're not ready. None of them. None of them, brother. You want to tell me what they meant here? Was great. Good template and everything. If they didn't want to add on a good thing on it, should have. But when you're going to stop the entire process, beloved, look what we are reaping today. Poor people again, financially poor people, brother. People, my sisters and brothers, in Liamiga and Wally, man. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. You just can't stay idly by and don't say nothing and keep your mouth closed. Don't care who you support, which party you support. You got to say something. Today gonna be this person, tomorrow it'll be you, your family members, and then what? You're gonna speak out when you hit home? No. You gotta, that's like you all have to say. When your neighbor house is on fire, make sure you secure yours. Beloved, it's just sad, man. And brother, that thing that you use, man, no justice, no peace, we used to use that. And still, remember now, still use that in the National Action Network. And we used to use that in United African Movement on the great Alton Maddox, who is now an ancestor. So, brother, when I hear that, I just say, what? My brother is using powerful slogan. Well, it's all good, brother. It's all good. No justice, no peace.
Yeah.
And that must be it, you know? Brother, you cannot have any peace, like Peter Tal said. You don't want to talk about nothing. We need justice. We need justice. And without that, beloved, everything will go in smoke if we don't get justice. Well, when I say go up in smoke, I don't mean no burn down no place and them things, you know. I just mean it will just disappear. Poof, like they said. But we got to do the right thing, man. Sisters and brothers, think it's get that warriors and warrior spirit. Warriors and warrior spirit in you again and stand up like true African men and women calling on the young people. It's your time now. It's your time. You are the leaders, the future leaders, so you got to stand up and take your rightful place. You can't let these clowns, this cartoon administration ruin your life and ruin St. Kitts Nevis. I prefer Sally Amiga and Owali. Brother. So, brother, continue to listen. Keep up the great works. Pan-Africanism appears. One love, my beloved brother.
Yes, one love, my brother, as well. And always good to hear you. Likewise, my brother. And when we say no justice, no peace, because as long as injustice prevails, and we're speaking about crime. Crime is crime. Whether it is white-collar crime, it is homicide or murder, I'm saying crime is crime. And once you commit the crime, you must do the time. So I'm saying for as long as injustice prevails, acting peacefully is a moral impossibility. And it goes to even the men who are in the limelight. or under the floodlight. It is incumbent on citizens to rise up and demonstrate against injustice, and to do so vehemently. My Straight Talk family, that is my humble view. That's my story. No justice, no peace. There can be no justice without peace, and there can be no peace without justice. And that was the formulation of Dr. Martin Luther King. And it contains no threats of violence, veiled or otherwise. He was making a universal point in a particular political context, my Straight Dog family. Yes, his words, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And if this good gentleman, whether he is the Premier's friend or not, he was found with a gun, send him to prison. If that's what the law says, do not circumvent the rules. Caller, you live.
Good night, Patrick.
Good night, my brother.
Thank you for taking my call, man.
Always a pleasure, my brother.
Okay, and Nabo, good night, man. Nice to hear you. Patrick, I like your topic. No justice, no peace. No peace, no justice. Patrick, I want to say something. Our crime has shoot up like a banana tree. And it started some way back. Let me show you how people just kill people, innocent people, for what is this? You remember how Lucky Dube get his death? He was stopped on the road going home, and he was shot and robbed. And here in St. Kitts, honest Greppat Hendricks, he was shot and robbed in his own place early morning, turning up his flour to bake bread. The man had no money. That killer there is eating taxpayers' money in the 1840s. And then come up in town, then you have the guy there, the karate guy from Dorset, the guy Richards. We get robbed the fountain where he lived and shot to death. Taxpayers are feeding the killers of he. Then now we have OJ, the same thing, shot and robbed. And whenever they catch the killer, he's going to go eat taxpayers' money. Where is the justice? If them there could kill people innocently, they are not in any war, and like Ukraine and Russia fighting and shooting at one another. They're robbing people and they're killing people. And I'm going to say so all the time, and who don't like it, that's your business. When they murder people, they should be either electrocuted, injected with medicine, or hang them. What you see in Parliament, where they go to make laws in there, laws are being broken instead of increase the penalties on the law. This man here, we got called Attorney General Gardwick, he put himself on top the Constitution, not underneath, on top. So he means to say, well, he got all the powers in the land. So therefore, anybody who will feel back in the Labour Party and they break the law, like the one in Nevis with the gun, he ain't going to jail. The one of New Road with the gun and the same bullet, them ammunition, he get 5 years. And the police and the girl, they get 3 years. And a radio DJ, he get away. He ain't in jail. He could be on a talk show talking about motorcycle and what they want for motorcycle to pop wheel and all that kind of foolishness. When he commit the same crime, look, other people who they catch with gun. So justice in this country here is what you call burying the sand down the bed. There is no justice, absolutely none. The glory, this government here, glory in turning with people, victimizing people who has done no wrong. The people are working, but just because they're not where we know it and saying labor. Joe, who calls himself the leader of the country, turning with people wrongly. And when you turn away the breadwinner of a home, You leave the family in that house to starve because they were working honestly to get the bread and money to feed the family and what, and you take with that. What do you expect gonna happen? They're gonna go do wrong things to survive. So it doesn't matter what the unity government were doing, keep down the crime. The people them was okay. They were able to work and feed the family. And you come and cut off the money that they are feeding the family and paying the bills and whatnot. What do you expect in the country? I'm not condoning wrong for them to go and rob people and shoot people. But things gonna happen. When you do treat people wrong things like that, they're gonna happen. That is, I'm gonna come back, but let me tell you this. The Labour Party there and the Jew, and before Jew and the Dr. Douglas, all they want is poor people with the palms stretch out in front of them every week, put a little bit in it, and they must come back. The great, well-known man from Newtown, my good friend Old Clark, well, you know his funeral is Monday. And he would be in Newtown football field. And his funeral things start from 1 o'clock. But yet still, they don't have no love for Old Clark. Because the Bible says where your treasure is, there lies your heart. And if they had treasure Old Clark, look how he treasured the Labour Party. They wouldn't have no parliament on Monday. They would have been put aside that and make sure they attend Old Clark funeral. But people open their eyes and see they don't love nobody. Patrick will come back. This is why he's coming.
Thank you. Thank you. I do believe, my understanding though, that Earl's funeral is Wednesday, the 14th. I heard that in church on Sunday, so I stand to be corrected. But yes, without justice, the thinking goes, peace will be an elusive goal. And without justice, without peace, injustice is bound to continue. My Straight Dog family, it's 9:23. I started somewhat late. Again, I do apologize for that. It's happened on 2 successive occasions. It's not a habit. I apologize for that profusely, my Straight Dog family. And just to let you know as well that the PLP will have its health walk on Saturday. This coming Saturday, join the Honorable Timothy Harris and his PLP grouping that health walk from Bellevue bus stop to Boria Strip starting at 5:30 a.m. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you live. Hello,
Good night.
Hello?
Thank you, Patrick. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear, sir. Good night.
Good night, Brother Patrick.
Good night, sir.
First, information. Prostitution is on the rise in St. Nevis because no jobs, no money. How do I survive? I am a witness. And it is very sad for such a thing to be on the rise. I mean, prostitution is the world's oldest career. And by all means to survive, ladies have to resort to such a situation. Now, look at the wages, the minimum wage incentives. Look at the cost of living. The dance can't pay for the hall. That $350 or $380 after tax that these people are in step, more or less those who don't have a job or who had a job, wherever. For someone to take home $350 is nothing, because $350 you can't even go to the supermarket and buy a decent meal to cook, to feed your children, pay your bills. So prostitution on the rise, they have to do whatever means to offset what the anticipated demand is. I am calling for wages increase immediately. Immediately. I mean, as the sign of the time comes, more and moving forward, because the living in respect to wages have to be risen too. As prostitution will be even more on the rise. So I'm calling on the government officials, the parliament, to look into such a thing so that our people does not have to be victimized their dignity. 350 is no money. I go to the supermarket. I can walk out with a decent dinner, and it's not to say top class dinner from the supermarket to cook a decent dinner. It's just hand to mouth. Please, I am appealing. It is disgusting. It is dehumanizing. There is no dignity. Let us restore the people dignity. That's one issue. The other issue is hardship again in this country and wrongful charges to certain situations here in St. Kitts. And far too long, I have stated this issue a long time ago. In respect to imported cars in the country, that environmental levy they are charging. And any vehicle coming to St. Kitts, whether it's a new car, an old car, it is passing on to the buyers of these cars. Whether you buy a new car from a dealer, they're passing on that $1,000 environmental levy. And if you are already custom tax table of charges in respect, I'm attacking that tax. And I approach a single person who had dealing with that bill in 2000 and passed in 2001. That must be addressed.
Okay.
Pass back saving to the people.
Okay, got you, my
And the
brother.
government is dubbing Peter all the time to pay Paul.
Okay, got you loud and clear, my brother. Got you loud and clear. I want to thank you for your intervention. And this message reads, good night, Patches. In the absence of a country, leadership lawlessness will fill the void. In the absence of the country's leadership, lawlessness will fill the void. Captain, the ship is sinking, reads that email. Let's go to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding your live.
Patches, good night.
Good night, my brother. How art thou?
One, I've been calling and no money, me don't take up my phone every month, you know. So I went and WhatsApp. I got WhatsApp on my phone, and I'm trying to get when I come back online now. I know I get them problems about it to get in. So now me can talk to you now. I said
Yes, Bible man.
last week the money done on my phone, you know, but it can't drop out.
Uh-huh. Sorry about that.
Yeah. But here you are, Mr. Patrick. Now, all going on. I am reading from Isaiah 56, verse 10 and 11. And that is my thing for tonight. Hear what he said. His watchmen, they are blind. They're all ignorant. They're all dumb dogs cannot bark. They're sleeping, lying down to slumber. Yea, They all greedy dogs which can never have enough. They all a shepherd cannot understand. They all gone their own way. Everyone today is gaining of his quarter. Mr. Patrick, what the Bible says here, the watchman supposed to be looking over the country and stand up and talk, thus said the Lord. Now the word of God said they are lying down. You cannot tell them nothing. The word of God is they are ignorant. But look here. If they don't come, when every job man has to get account for it
Yes.
to God.
Yes.
And I'm saying tonight that God is watching and God is looking. And one of these days, as the word of God said, whatso a man soweth,
Shall he reap?
shall he also reap. To be not deceived, God is not mocked. Mr. Patrick, I am trained to live a Christian and a dedicated life before God. When He comes, God, it's going to be no middle ground between them, no middle ground. At the great white throne, we have to give account for everything. So, Mr. Patrick, you take yourself and show a man live and show a man die. And no repentance in the grave, no pardon after the dead. So, see you, Mr. Patrick. Have a pleasant night.
Have a pleasant night as well, Mr. Bible Man. Yes, you're so correct. We all must appear before the judgment seat of Christ and maybe recompense for the things we have done. My heart cries for St. Kitts, Mr. Liburd. 16 homicides in less than 1 year. God help us all. Please keep you and your family safe. Reads that continues that email. Somehow I think this is beyond the St. Kitts Nevis police force. I listened to Gwyneth and she said a mouthful. The leader of the opposition showed up the Prime Minister by addressing the issue. I don't usually listen to the Prime Minister, but out of curiosity, I listened. He seems to be having a hard start, reads that email. This other email reads, Patches, this probably the toughest couple lines I've ever written. Because the things I want to say to the Prime Minister and the Member of Parliament for constituency number 2 borders on treason. How dare them try to spin my brother's Alden Ojemana's murder as a gang-related murder? They need to retract those statements. We as Magniters demand they stop playing politics with this wicked act that has nothing to do with any gang activity. OJ was a hard-working businessman who fed the nation. I was so disgusted with what I heard from those two false leaders. But the tears are not only going to run down the cheeks of the poor ghetto people. We are too soon going to be onlookers to someone else's suffering and pain, graveside crying and mourning. Watch this face, reads this email. This other email reads, "Good evening, Mr. Liburd. It is with great sorrow and shame I reach out to you. I witnessed the police press conference, Mr. Liburd. Mr. Sutton is being set up for failure and by extension the nation. ACP Mitchell needs to be sent on leave along with ACP Adams. They are undermining Commissioner Sutton. ACP Mitchell thinks he is entitled to be commissioner or to the commissioner's job, beg your pardon. And he did not get it now. How do we know he is not the agent, provocateur, and cause of the upsurge in the violence? We need to hook all the high command to the lie detector machine and ask them the questions and publish the results. The chamber is up to its old tricks about safety. Where were they when the Attorney General went rogue and he lost in court? Mr. Liburd, a very good friend of yours, once told me, water always finds its level. Good night. God bless. And it's time for the Labour Party to be called the St. Kitts Labour Party. Ain't nothing news about our Labour Party, reads this other email. It's now 25 before the 10 o'clock hour, my straight talk family, and we are entertaining your calls, we're entertaining your emails. The numbers are 663-6672 and the overseas line 646-829-6672. We are, in fact, discussing our thesis tonight. No justice, no peace, no security, no safety. And it all stems from the actions of the Labour Party or the Labour Party administration since its election in August 2022. And the actions have had a real negative impact on the current state of affairs in St. Kitts Nevis. A timely examination of St. Kitts Nevis will reveal that it is increasingly defined by disorder. The election of Terence Drew resulted in an unexpected reversal of critical social assistance programs that have helped so many families. People are hurting, and hurting really, really badly. And my straight dog family, we have to really examine ourselves as a people and ensure that the things we are doing are within the parameters of the law. We must speak the truth, and only the truth can set us free. Good night, Patches. So the Crime Minister said that he's addressing the crime problem and as a health problem. So is he looking at the health issues as a criminal matter? Patches, there's an African proverb, while the elephant plays, the grass gets trampled. While these guys fly around the globe, vulnerable people in the Federation are slaughtered and the Crime Minister sees it as a health issue. Is the Crime Minister saying these people should be tried in court as mental ill defendants? Who is the guy's advisors? Tell him to shut up. Stop his grinning and blaming. Fix the problem. My brother OJ is not a casualty of no war. We live in a civil society. Protection of the people from foreign and domestic threats is the first priority of all governments. The situation is out of hand. When are they going to do something? When a Caucasian is the victim? Reads this email. And my straight dog family, you ask the question, who is advising the Prime Minister? The Prime Minister seems to have had or have appointed a National Advisory Council headed by a psychiatrist long-standing psychiatrist. He's hell-bent it's health or crime is a health issue. But my straight talk family, the Prime Minister to this date has not consulted the National Security Advisor, Major General Saunders. Why? We don't know. He's bringing someone to take that job, someone who campaigned with him and for the Labour Party in the 2022 elections. We'll hear much more about that. But he has dismantled the architecture that was in place. And here is the result. No matter what you say about monetization, caller, you live.
Patches.
So,
Dr. Terence Joe, who is the Prime Minister of the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis, he is overloaded with inexperienced leadership of a country. That is his biggest problem. Now, when someone gonna accuse another person of doing wrong things and they cannot provide the facts behind their accusation, it is pure lies and propaganda they're spreading. You remember they say that a lot of millions of dollars missing from Development Bank, and up to now they can't say who take it up and where it gone, because that is lies and propaganda, and they're trying to make the manager and Dr. Harris' family them look bad. That's why they can't say how the money gone. Just like how Dr. Joe could say that they pay bid $2 million to the water project in St. Kitts. Just like how we could call bid name and say they paid them $2 million because he have the facts. They already pay him. And then they seek legal action against bid because they know they got the facts about this $2 million. So you see, when they're calling people name and accusing them of the lie, and those people who got the ear on the head as garbage bin, they gladly haul it in, cover it up, and spreading it all over the place. Now that remark that the lady or anybody make about OJ was involved with gang, they don't know OJ, and they don't live in St. Kitts. OJ is one of the most friendliest proprietor in Bastille, if not the most friendliest. OJ is a cool man, a calm man, he helps everybody. OJ ain't need foolishness with them. OJ ain't got no time for them nonsense. OJ go and buy his food, prepare his business for the day to serve his customers, his friendly customers. Anybody go by OJ and they shot, OJ ain't gonna turn them back. He will even tell them hold the money and give them the food. So the accusation is false, and they need to take back their accusation about OJ. They need to make an apology to the nation about that. Patrick, thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you, my dear brother. This email reads, the justice system in St. Kitts has broken down, beg your pardon, since the new Labour government of Dr. Drew and his Attorney General took office. The Labour woman from Sandy Point, suspected of murdering her Jamaican boyfriend, was set free without a murder or manslaughter charge, all because she's a strong Labour supporter. The Attorney General and DPP's office has brought a new paradigm of justice that if you are a Labour supporter, do as you please with impunity and be free. Reads this email. I'll dispense of these emails, callers. Bear with me for a moment. They claim that we are true democracy, and democracy is working well in the Federation. But my argument is, Patches, if after so many months they can't appoint a leader of the opposition in Nevis and in St. Kitts, the Nevis main opposition leader joining with the government to criticize the other members, Harris and Drew, tell me quite clearly that Mark Brantley is a fake, crooked and dangerous opposition leader and collecting his salary under false pretenses, reads this other email. I want to thank the government of Canada, reads this email, for returning St. Kitts Nevis and many other countries to a more easy and accessible way to travel to Canada. What I am pleased with is that the government of Canada did it out of their own volition. But knowing who Mark Brantley is, he must claim credit for it. My Straight Dog family. This misreads, surely a program such as the Peace Program would have an evaluation and monitoring aspect to it. When it was observed that some participants started abusing the program, as mentioned by the Assistant Commissioner, how were those cases addressed? What percentage of the participants chose to abuse the program? We, the citizens of this country, deserve much more than we are receiving. Instead of these blanket statements, we need quantifiable information. Concerned citizens would also like to know about the alleged disappearance of the $20 million from the Development Bank. When will the audit report be made public? Reads this other email. Dear Patches, the pastors who have been rewarded for campaigning for the Labour Party are now asking for prayers for this country. The last carnival prayer meeting they had at Rivers, God's troops, his teeth at them. Tell Isaiah Philip, Leroy Matthew, Syrian Williams, Don Cassius, Jonathan Bass, and Janet Harris. We don't want to hear anything from them. Read this email. It's 14 before the 9 o'clock, the 10 o'clock hour, beg your pardon. If you joined us late, we started late as well, and I apologize for that. We look tonight at our theme or dissertation, No Justice, No Peace, No Security, No Safety. And we looked at it in the context of the fact that the Prime Minister, first of all, took 10 months, 16 hours, and 24 minutes before he came to the country, in spite of all that is going on in the country with the loss of lives. 24 murders since he took office. Crime and violence has spiraled out of control. He came on Tuesday after the heinous double homicide the day before. And my Straight Talk family, the country waited patiently, anxiously, to hear what he was going to say. And when he said something like this, for example, everybody stooped.
The Cabinet has also agreed to table legislation in the National Assembly to increase the penalty for illegal firearms offences from 15 to 25 years in prison. I reassure you that our security forces will be unrelenting in working collaboratively in their obligation to preserve law and order in our federation. Our streets must remain safe.
Yes, that's what we would like to see. Law and order. But law and order must be executed across the board, Prime Minister. Law should not be for some and not for the others. That, as we said, justice must be blind. And once there's no justice, there will be no peace, there will be no safety, there will be no security. My Straight Dog family, the country under Jew is headed in the right direction, in the wrong direction. Beg your pardon. Some people are saying Douglas would do a better job. Of course, Douglas would do a 10 times better job. than Jew. Because as our Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, although he scored an offside goal according to his constituent, he should know by now that justice, peace, security, and safety are essential elements in building the foundation for inclusive growth, in building a high trust and a resilient society. Patches, the present police commissioner, reads this email, is by far the most political commissioner of police we ever had. You should see how his wives on Facebook used to abuse hell out of Team Unity. He should never have been appointed, as he hated anyone who did not support Labour. What kind of justice we can have with him at the top? Reads this email. The song the country is saying is Labour got to go, Jew got to go. Good night, Patches. Our country is crying out for justice and is experiencing a leadership crisis. So can I ask you the question? Do you think Timothy Harris can return to be Prime Minister of this country again? And if so, please explain how. For example, can PLP ever win the majority of seats in this country? Would Labour join with PLP? The leader of PAM, Labour and CCM have stated publicly that they would never ever work with Timothy Harris again. Is he being selfish, not stepping away from leadership of PLP when the country is hurting the most of all for the sake of ego, pride, and power? Patches, you are an intelligent man who have been around politics. We know that this is the worst hand this country was given. Not even slavery was this bad as life under Labour. Patches, we cannot allow the disunity among the opposition parties to allow an idiot like Drew to remain as Prime Minister of the country for too long. Please answer my questions, reads this email. Well, I've interpreted them as rhetorical questions. Patches, the murders must happen, reads this other email. They are part of the blood deal made by those who are not sprinkling stuff by the polling stations, especially the hairdresser from Newtown, reads this other email. That's confusing. Patches, reads this other email. Pam can't be serious to bring back Sean and expect people stupid enough to support him for Prime Minister. He can't even stand up to Mark in Nevis. Look how Mark made a fool of him. It's people like Sean why we're in this mess. Pam, never again, reads this other email. And I'll take this, my final email so far for the night, my Stray Dog family. Patches, it reads, what in heaven's name is going on in this country politically? Every single week since Dr. Drew became the Prime Minister, he has announced a new arbitrary appointment who is either his friend or family, or in fact a known PAM supporter who happens to vote for him. Patches, can you please do an investigation to find out how many advisors, ambassadors, directors have been appointed to work out of the Prime Minister's office, and what's their salary, and exactly what they are assigned to do. It is alleged that the government salary and wages bill for 2023 has almost doubled. This is a new form of corruption. Vaughan, Diana, Galloway in famous Edinburgh, Blanchard, Big Lies. What's their position and salary? Rewarding supporters without any real processing, without any transparency. A Patches good governance agenda gone through the door. Where is Garth Wilkin? Oh, he is corrupt too, reads this email. My Straight Talk family, it's 9:54 as we wind down tonight's programming. It's a shortened version because of me, and I apologize for that. But we looked at the issue before us as it relates to crime. And when I heard the Commissioner of Police has said this today or yesterday, and I'm sure that when many of you heard this yesterday, you were taken aback by the information provided. As someone asked me, how is it that crime has been reduced, but murders have gone through the roof? But this is what the Commissioner of Police had to say.
Crimes overall. We recovered a total of 16 illegal firearms, but regrettably, there were 11 homicides. In the first quarter of 2023, we recorded a further decrease in major crimes. However, the second quarter of the year, we saw a significant spike in homicides. Although the police have recovered a total of 20 illegal firearms in the first half of the year, the number of civilians who have unfortunately died now stands at 16. This dark trend will be stopped, and the misinformed individuals who perpetrated it will be brought to justice. Criminal activity must not be allowed to find safe haven within the fabric of our society. The police, having been diligently working in collaboration with the St. Kitts Nevis Defence Force to curb the surge of criminal activity. To this end, we have already put in motion several initiatives and strategies aimed at increasing efficacy of our methods and the intensity with which we seek justice. One such course of action was the High Command's decision to increase mobile and foot patrols and community engagement nationwide. This change has been met with much appreciation from the general public, as dozens of persons all over the country continue to express sentiments of gratitude and appreciation to
my Straight Talk family. Is very interesting development as well in terms of our crime fighting strategy. Because recall that the Prime Minister approved the joining of our own forces with the RSS to tackle the situation in St. Lucia. And I wondered if that was a prudent or logical move, because we have problems in St. Kitts. But lo and behold, the commissioner proved me right, because he's obviously short of manpower why they have taken this route as well. So, of course, they're short-staffed. But let's take this and make this my final call for tonight. Caller, you're live.
Thank you, sir. You got to be your final call.
How you got in here?
Well, you see, nobody calling, so are you using the time?
All right.
Since Dr. Ju take office as leader of the country, everybody know the amount of homicide happen under his leadership. And you're gonna tell me, the Bible says in Matthew chapter 7 and verse 5, don't hypocrite, first take the beam out of your eye, then you will see clearly to take the mote out of your brother's eye. How he can leave the eyes in the country here full up with crime, and then we send a little bit of police resources that we have to St. Lucia when he are here dirty with crime. And then again, he misusing the police. He got too many police around him in a Christian society, that's it. But when you want all them police, you don't misusing the resources around him, and then he take up the little bit, then leave back and send him to Lucia. Now the crime get away. We have no police to patrol the villages all around the island. They need police to patrol. Let people see the presence of the police. They're studying that because he do not love the country. He got in position there to take vengeance out of Dr. Douglas, who he was trying to whip down all the time. And he doing the same thing to Dr. Harris. And everybody can see he do not have no love for the country. Every week, he on a plane. And when he ain't he one, it's 5 of them going. That is why he used wasting the money instead of taking the money and paying back the people who starving and doing their war-being work. That is where he's spending the government money. And talk about he's a leader and he gonna go do better. It's time for us to walk the streets and tell him, look, it's time for you to come out of the government house. You don't know what you're doing. He's inexperienced, and whosoever advising him, they're far worse than him. That is, thank you very much for giving me the last call. And you watch your back going home. Watch your back. Okay, thank you very much. See you Monday, God willing.
Thank you, my brother. Yes, I'll watch my back. Because without justice, there'll be no peace. There's no security and no safety. And Commissioner Sutton looks forward for justice, and we all look forward to justice. But justice must be blind. And our legal system must be objective and unbiased. And law enforcement are supposed to fairly make decisions based on the information presented to them, rather than based on personal experiences or who they like most. The police should have raised holy hell when acting director of public prosecutions entered or sent this warrant to Magistrate Clerk to discontinue that case numbered NEVMCR 2023/01/02. Yes, the acting director, Greatest Gordon Hazel, exercised her power under Section 65, subsection 2C of our Constitution, and entered that notice of discontinuance in her name in that case, in which the accused stood charged before the court, District C Magistrate Court in Nevis, with the offences of possession of firearm and ammunition contrary to Section 20, subsection 1B of the Firearms Act, Cap 19.05. A warrant was served on Honorable Miss Yasmin Clark in order for her to discharge the proceedings which were currently before her. And she had to. No choice whatsoever. And that man, the Premier's friend, took a sea taxi to St. Kitts thereafter. Then American Airlines to the USA. And some people can't get a visa. Some people with the same offense. Same offense. Possession of firearms and ammunition. One got 3 years, one got 5 years. One got time served. But this one walks scot-free. Is that justice? Justice must not only be done, it must seem to be done. And at a time when crime and violence crept back into our society under the new Jew Labor administration, there have now been 24 homicides, 16 for 2023, 15 of which have been gun-related homicides. He hasn't spoken to his national security advisor. He never spoke to the then outgoing commissioner of police. What do you expect the situation would be like? He said he didn't stop the peace program. He says it is monetized. Why he continued it then, my straight dog family? But prosecutorial discretion should cover decisions to institute, continue, or terminate criminal proceedings. But in making these decisions, the prosecutor must consider whether the evidence demonstrated that there is or was a reasonable prospect of conviction, and if so, whether a prosecution best serves the public interest. That man who walked free after found with a gun and ammunition, caught red-handed in Gingerland, Nevis, my learned friend would say that he had constructive possession. Then isn't it an abuse of the process when he was arbitrarily to arbitrarily discontinue his case? Garth Lucien Wilkin, the Attorney General, broke the law before he became president of the St. Kitts Nevis Bar Association. He broke the law when he was president of the St. Kitts Nevis Bar Association. Garth Lucien Wilkin broke the law before he came Attorney General and Minister of Justice and Legal Affairs. Garth Lucien Wilkin broke the law after he became Attorney General and Minister of Justice and Legal Affairs. He and his government handpicked the DPP. Is he dictating the role of the DPP? Is that a fair question to ask? But after some 10 months, a new DPP has not been recruited. Is there any intention to recruit one, my straight dog family? And these are the issues that point to the lack of justice. No justice. Justice must be blind. Must be blind. That's what is said. We said, my straight dog family, that the wearing of a blindfold, often shown in courthouse paintings or as a statue, Lady Justice is a symbol of the legal system. Based on the Greek goddess Themis and the Roman goddess Justitia, they are known for their good judgment and righteousness, respectfully. She acts as a reminder that the courts are supposed to protect the rights of the people without being influenced by outside factors. The legal system must be impartial. But some people think there are ways to evade an honest trial. Justice must be blind, my Straight Talk family, or else there'll be no peace, there'll be no security, there'll be no safety. That's my story tonight, my Straight Talk family, and I am not going to change it. Until we connect on Monday, I must first of all thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight. As always, I want to thank all of you, those who called, those who sent emails, those of you who listened on your social media platforms. Remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. Don't forget that health walk, beg your pardon, on Saturday at 5:30 a.m. The PLP health walk this coming Saturday, my Straight Talk family, starts at 5:30 a.m. I think it's at the Bellevue bus stop. Starting this coming Saturday at 5:30 a.m. and goes right up on to the Borea Strip. So join the health walkers this coming Saturday, the 10th of June, the People's Labour Party, from the Bellevue bus stop to the Borea Strip. So have yourselves, my Straight Talk family, a wonderful weekend. Be good to all whom you meet. And remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you just got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Monday.
So whatever my mind can see, that I will achieve. Because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on, till I reach the top somehow. The morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night. For the rest of food and loving care, and for my mother's breath of life that's got me here. So whatever my mind conceives, that I will achieve, you better believe. Because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll down on my knees. To the Lord I kneel.